the closer you come to death, the closer death comes to you. How about that? This is going to be a Judas reading. Look what I've done. I pulled some of the things out of the cabinet. I got the free recycle me, scrap me, free cabinet that was around the corner in the neighborhood. And of course, you look at something like that and you think two ways. How much can I make out of that for scrap if I were to turn it in to A&L Scrap off Millbacher Road in Gaylord, Michigan? $30,000. If they make $100 million off of my advertisements, I should at least get 30 grand just for finder's fees or something like that. But look, whatever it is, I got it in there, and it's this thing. I've got my photos in one cabinet. I've got my writings in another cabinet. My readings in another cabinet. Before I got the library back here, still trying to get it straight. There's not enough room for all this stuff. Went through yesterday and I said I got to pull out all the writings files because I have to get my stories that I've written of China and stories of my life, because, you know, even if I have no descendants, people that were my friends would really like to see the whole deal. What did you really see? And I found this. Look at this. It's called a little fat notebook. It's a little fat notebook. And I said, I recognize that. So this is going to be a Judas reading. This is you're going to have to watch me turn. I haven't finished reading it till the end. This will be about 20 minutes if you can take it. This is one of those things that I call toilet readings. If I have something that's worth reading for 20 minutes, I'll do it on the toilet. And really, the stories I have to tell, by the end of it, you may need a fucking cold shower afterwards sometimes. Look at that. You're supposed to act confident and aggressive. I'm going to read you a story. Look at this. At the top of the page, this turns out to be a journal I took. This is a motorcycle I ride I took from San Jose back to Gaylord in 1996. I had moved to California. I had dropped out of college at Michigan State. I said, I'm done here, because Vizanko he was in the Army with me. He was an airborne paratrooper with me, and then one of those things that they say, who wants to do this in basic training? It came back and they said, you said you wanted to be a fucking Army diver. And so he did that. He got to do that in Kuwait. I sent him a bottle of vodka when he was there. That's another story. It takes too long because I'm so good at this sort of thing. If you didn't go this deep into it, you wouldn't have actually ever figured it out on your own. I got him a bottle of fucking Stolichnaya. Stolies, that was his favorite. He was Vizanko Russian by nature. He liked Stoli. So anyway, something about that and all that. But I had moved out to be with him because he always said, if you ever want to get out of here, he said, give me a call. And I called him from Michigan State on my actual telephone in my dorm room. I said, I'm on my way. And he's like, what? I said, you said if I ever needed any place to go, I had a place to stay. And actually, I'm never so suggestive of these things. It's not something I do. But if somebody fucking offers me something and I find myself in need for it, I I guess I'm mistaken in believing that they mean it. And he said, what? And I said, you told me if I ever, and he's like, oh, okay. And so I moved out to California, I got my degree, my state residency, and went back to school out there. But between my job as a traveling shoe salesman and starting school in September 96, I got on my motorcycle and I rode back across the states and I took a book. This is a Judas reading. And I write weird ways, so you'll see me having to turn the book upside down to read it and stuff. But I'm going to read you a story. It starts out, weather, hot and sunny, mostly. Page 1. 13 July 96. Not so long ago, if you think about days and weeks. Left Reno at 2 p.m. after sleeping at La Quinta, eating, losing $20 at Blackjack and Hilton and filling tank. Still in Nevada, I saw a bank of clouds ahead that made me think of God's beard. They were big with long strands of precipitation reaching to the ground. I could see it was going to be a good one, being experienced from the same clouds rushing us in the hayfields as I grew up. I thought how I ought to stop and don my rain gear. Foolishly, I decided. Well, I could beat it. I really just didn't feel like digging all that shit out of my bags and really didn't mind getting a little wet. It was hot, remember? With the clouds still to the right of me, I caught hell. Gale force winds. I saw the tumbleweeds cross the road just ahead of me, running as fast as they could, trying to escape the storm. For me, I was pelted by the spittle that drooled down. God's beard and forced into the next lane by the force of his size. Though my certain brand of good fortune through it, there was no one, there were no cars, there was nothing for me to sideswipe. The rain coming down so hard it didn't have time to clear my visor. I decided I still could make it through. Then God's pepsin struck with its acidic qualities. Hail the size of marbles. It's always the size of something. Why not just big-assed hail? Began to tear away. at my flesh. I had to stop. I pulled to the side of the freeway and realized I needed shelter. The winds gusted so hard. I was so afraid they would tip my bike as I dismounted and set it on its kickstand. So I got on its left side in case it fell. I would be there to support it, and it offered me shelter. I crouched the ground like a turtle, cowering, with my pack protecting my back and my helmet, my melon. I watched the hail dance on the asphalt and melt as a car pulled over and it backed up. I approached it so he could offer for me to get in with him and his wife till it stopped. I declined, saying, "Thanks, but I have rain gear if I need to put it on, and if I weren't so lazy." He drove ahead. I walked back, crouching again next to the bike. I thought that was nice of them, seeing I was only wearing a pair of shorts, hiking boots, and an old army t-shirt, repeatedly darned, with the front pulled over my head to the back. He should have seen that I was completely stupid and probably even a little bit crazy. Only people of God offer things to people like that or other crazy people. I couldn't tell which they were, but thanks to some screwed up sense of independent pride my dad somehow instilled in me, I find it a little bit difficult to accept things from others. That in itself can create problems. The hail, the rain slackened, so I moved on. I ended up right back in it, and with the hail cutting into me like glass, I realized it was the same stuff. Stopping would accomplish nothing. I had to beat it, drive through, and get in front of it if I wanted to get done with it. I slowed down, but pressed on. I pulled clear of it into what was nothing but a light drizzle. Then I hit the second wave. All the same stuff. I went through about 4 waves of it before slamming into sunshine and heat. Looking down, I saw skin sheared from arms and shoulders and bruises all about my stomach, chest. Cool. Looking back, I saw God's cold, mean-spirited beard. Other cars, dirty and bug-encrusted, drove into it as the hot wind dried my visor. I thanked jugs. I thanked God for cleansing it. The rain had been refreshing. Blue skies, mountains, and to my fore, Montana. I rode that storm in the middle of it all the way across, stopping, traveling 27 hours at an end. I stopped in Junction City, Iowa, because I saw a fucking road sign as I'm going, ah! I was out of the fucking storms by then, but they were behind me and around me. Cloud cover, gray cast sky, like steel. I saw a sign that said Junction City, Vietnam Memorial. As I was going by, and I just blew across 2 lanes and hit the off-ramp without hitting anybody, and said I'm gonna fucking stop and see this. I made a trip across the country, stopped and saw the wall. There are pictures of it in here somewhere. I've got pictures everywhere, just because I know nobody believes a goddamn thing that I say. Take a look at that. There's still that one right there that, oh, you shouldn't look too closely at it. It could get you in trouble if you care about me. When all across the country in this storm, people like to write motorcycle stories. I've never met a motorcycle yet that's been able to kill me. This is a Judas reading, and there was much more that happened along the way. This is my journal from that trip. Remember, the closer to death you get, the closer death comes to you.